There's been a campaign to monitor hate speech, which was particularly decisive in 2007 in terms of creating violence and so on and so forth. How has that been, and how is the if you like, the background to all of this in terms of social media and the discussion? How has that been?
Well, I went to meet these people. The project's called Umati, and it's linked to Ushahidi, which was this group of bloggers and geeks who were sort of getting together and running an operations room to try and make sure that the election remained free and fair and peaceful on the day. And the Umati people have been feeding in, they've been monitoring in 7 different languages hate speech on Facebook in particular. I think tweets as well. They're doing sort of the internet, the digital
domain
side of things, not radio stations or television.
Yeah.
And I think what we've seen is, in a way, we've had this miraculously peaceful election so far, but the violence has shifted into the virtual world.
Yes,
and
there's a lot of verbal violence.
Yes, and it's gone into social media in particular. So Facebook, it has been vitriolic exchanges, which get extremely racist, and
yes, along tribal lines,
ethnically racist,
tribal stroke ethnic lines.
A huge amount of aggression. I've had some of it directed to myself because there was a sense in which the international media became everyone's favourite enemy during these years. We became pariahs. We were sort of being
constantly looking for bad news.
Yes, that was the accusation. So I've had some of that aggression directed towards me, and it's very, very unpleasant. And you're constantly, what people have been remarking upon is so many people are unfriending people that they know. There's a sort of winnowing out, which is kind of sad to see, but obviously it's better if it stays on social media than it turns into real violence. But I think what it exposes is that this is a very divided country, a very polarised country. I mean, really, you've got the split, down the middle. The fact that both candidates were so close, we have yet to see whether the fact that in the end then Uhuru established a sizable lead can actually be trusted.
But this is very strange, isn't it? Because the sort of one of the defining things about Kenyan society, it seems to me as an outsider, is that it does allow a remarkable number of cultures to interact and conduct day-to-day life in a fairly peaceable way outside of elections.
Yes, but I think that there was a polarisation that took place ahead of the last elections, and I don't think that has. I think that has become ever more entrenched, and I think that's what the social media exposes.
Particularly in the poorer districts.
Well, I think the poorer districts, yes, because there, although people are sharing similar vicissitudes, and none of them have really benefited from whoever runs the country, they're still equally poor. But they're the ones who pay the price for the ethnic language that is used at the top by political demagogues who use it as a weapon. And there's been a real, this happened long before the election, but people now are very aware of where they live. And I remember talking to my taxi driver, he was saying nobody in Kibera now who lives there is not a Luo or a Kamba. You would not want to be a Kikuyu there. And he was saying in his area where he lives, which is also a poor area, there is one Luo family. He's a Kikuyu. One of the Luo families recently moved out. The other ones are staying put. And I think this is the very sad reality of Kenyan.
That is the kind of pressure.
Yeah, there's the self-segregation going on. And that's not a sign of a happy society or an integrated society. So the great melting pot that was Nairobi has stopped being a melting pot. People are living within their communities. And that's, I think, a very dangerous phenomenon and very sad. Because what it means is the nation-building project, that was launched in the 60s under Jomo Kenyatta, is sort of going into reverse.
Yeah. Thanks for talking to me today.